Welcome to the Future Nigeria Project. The Future Nigeria Project is an offshoot of NINAS, Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination. Now, this project is meant for the sensitization of the people, and that is why we are particularly looking at the youth. We're educating the youth and telling them more about the state of the nation and the topical issues happening in the country. We're going to be discussing today, we'll be sharing more about the Constitutional Force Majeure. I am Faith Igwe, and welcome to the show.
My name is Firestone Kofi. Glad to have you here.
Victoria Eka, it's a pleasure to be here. Goodness, Miriam, welcome to the show.
Okay, it's so good to have each and every one of us here. And let's head straight to what we want to talk about. So on the 16th of December 2020, that was last year, the NINAS brought forth proclaimed the proclamation of the Constitutional Force Majeure. And then a lot of persons, we've been singing, we've been talking about the Constitutional Force Majeure, but a lot of persons still don't know what it is about.
Exactly.
So I want us to step it down and explain it for the understanding of all. So what really is a Constitutional Force Majeure?
Before we actually look at the meaning of Constitutional Force Majeure, I think it'd be better if we first of all pick up the word force majeure. What is a force majeure? And a force majeure here is a clause in a contract where, for instance, if two persons were actually bounded by a particular contract, and as a result of an unforeseen circumstance, they can no longer be bounded by that contract anymore. For instance, this table here, if we were supposed to be paid 50,000 naira for every time this table is placed here, and then something happens, maybe the fan falls on the table and breaks the table into pieces, and then by virtue of that, of course, the table is no longer placed here, so we can't be paying the money anymore. So we can say that a force majeure happened there and this was as a result of something that all of us don't have control over. So it wasn't anybody's fault, but then the table is no longer here, and so by that reason, we can no longer be paid the money. So we're no longer binded by that contract anymore as a result of unforeseen circumstances.
So in the case of the Constitution...
in the case of the Constitution now, we could just say that a constitutional force majeure is where a constitution that was previously binding a particular people together can no longer bind them as a result of certain circumstances. So that's just it. The best possible way to explain.
So now, proposing a constitutional force majeure, there must be a reason.
Certainly.
Like you said, there are certain circumstances that's making this constitution not be to be able to bind the people. So what are the reasons why NINAS is proposing this solution to the nation? What would warrant this kind of option, this kind of decision, this kind of action from NINAS?
Yes, exactly.
We know that the Constitution is supposed to be written by the people. Now, if we all recall, in the Constitution, it has rightly said that we, the people, agreed to this Constitution. But need I remind you that our ethnic nationalities were not present when this Constitution was written. So a Constitution cannot be outrightly said that it's a Constitution when it's not legitimate. We were not there. Our ethnic nationalities were not there to contribute to this Constitution. It was not run by the people. So we cannot say that this constitution is legitimate. If you ask me, I'd say it's illegitimate and cannot be binding.
And so there's just so much that is wrong about the 1999 constitution. And the average Nigerian knows that this constitution is just so wrong. And they've tried severally to amend it. But
I was going to bring in the case of amendment because a lot of persons have been saying, let's do amendments instead. Let's amend. But how long shall we be amending?
Because they've always been amending.
There are just so much loopholes in the constitution that no matter how much you amend it, those loopholes.
And the more you amend, and you're not taking away the broken things, the things that are causing this rotten situation. What are you amending? Because they still stand. It's still law. laws.
Trying to rewrite it in different words.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Still. So you see, and so in the court of law, you can still use those previous ones and still use to fight against the amended ones. So what are we saying?
I think you remember when we got into the streets and we were asking people questions about this, and a certain man was actually implying that it's almost impossible to change the constitution.
Yes.
And so he insisted on the amendment. People think it's actually an impossible task to change the constitution.
Exactly.
Yes.
And that brings us to, countries that have already undertaken the same procedures. For example, we have the likes of South Africa with the apartheid constitution. They had to change the constitution. We have the likes of Chile. Chile was operating on a military constitution, same with Algeria. And then you see how they transitioned.
The Chile own is almost the same thing with the Nigerian case, because our constitution was written by the military. And of course, there's no way a constitution written by the military can perfectly govern us in a democracy. It just will not work, no matter how much you try to amend.
It doesn't have the interest of the people.
Yes, and then the grievances that has even led to NINAS coming. And by the way, NINAS is coming together of ending nationalities from the Middle Belt and the South.
The Lower Niger.
One of the major reasons why we had this.
Please, you need to emphasize on that, the Lower Niger too, and the Lower Niger includes the South.
The South is.
Yes.
So we all are part of this.
One of the reasons that really caused all of this is the bias that this 1999 constitution is bringing.
Yeah.
And it's now looking like it's favoring one part of the country, and then these other parts of the country are just so disadvantaged. And that is not just working. And it just was intentional. Obviously, it was intentional. And so because of that, NINAS is so pushing for the decommissioning of the 1999 Constitution.
Okay. So let's discuss more on these issues. You mentioned something about you mentioned some things included in the Constitution. Let's look at the 68 items that we're talking about, the exclusive list. Now, in the case of security and electricity, we can see the decay of what the economy as a result of what this constitution has. This what we have in the exclusive list is whatever is in that exclusive list must be carried out directly from the federal government. So you can imagine in electricity, whereby a state, for example, a state like Akwa Ibom is generating electricity. We see a situation whereby they still have to transmit to the national federal grid, and from the federal grid, they now decide where and the amount is apportioned to where. You can imagine.
Funny enough, even the people now don't really understand why their state should have a plant they don't still have lights.
They have lights.
Most people don't understand because we don't ask questions.
The same thing in security aspects. Before, for example, if something should be going on in, let's use Gombe State, and you see a situation whereby a state of emergency should be declared, or appropriate measures should be taken to curb the issue. Now, they have to wait for the federal government to give order to the IG, Inspector General of Police, who will in turn give order before anything can be done.
And the government doesn't even have the power over that, because once it gets from the IG straight to the CP, and then you
just look at that. I think we should have what we call the community police. There should be state policing. More of the centralization, because what we are operating on is a unitary government, not a federal system.
Exactly.
It's a unitary government. Exactly. So let's move over to what NINAS, why they proposed, why they were given, why they proclaimed the Constitutional Force Majeure. There were demands of this Constitutional Force Majeure that were given to the federal government. So
5 of them.
So what were these demands?
I think the first one was to...
Okay, let's hear from you. Yeah.
For the federal government to actually accept that there is a constitutional force majeure.
Yes.
Acknowledge the discrepancy, and acknowledge
and they have to do it publicly. Formally and publicly.
For the people to be able to be part of this, not in a hidden way and manner, so that we all can be part of this and know how this process is going through, so we can be carried through the process as a people.
And
Vicky, I think we need to have a little break now, so that we take.
Let's have a little break and we'll be right back. There's a whole lot going on right here, and I can't wait to discuss more. See you soon.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
NINAS, the Nigeria Indigenous Nationality Alliance for Self-Determination, is an alliance of ethnic nationalities from the Middle Belt, Southwest and Lower Niger region. On the 16th of December 2020, NINAS declared a constitutional force majeure against the illegitimate 1999 constitution. NINAS demanded that the federal government acknowledge the constitutional grievances expressed by the ethnic nationalities, as well as begin the decommissioning of the 1999 constitution, and no further election should be conducted on the 1999 constitution until all grievances are resolved. To support NINAS and the Constitutional Force Majeure, sign the petition at www.ninasffn.org/register to end 1999 Constitution now. To speak with NINAS, call the number 0813-425-4584 or 070-5924-9885.
Welcome back to the Future Nigerian Project. And before we went on the break, we were already discussing and deliberating on very, very crucial matters. We were talking about the demands that NINAS sets aside, the demands that were given, the demands of the Constitutional Force Majeure. And we mentioned that one of the demands is to acknowledge the union's dispute that has been declared by the joint multi-regional proclamation. Yeah. So, and then we said the second one was to set aside the 1999 Constitution, which has been the basis of the Nigerian Union.
Because
I think
every government who is sworn in to uphold that Constitution and everything in it. Exactly. So it has to be stopped and decommissioned completely.
Yes, emphasis on the fact that it has to be suspended, not amended.
Not amended.
It has to be completely suspended.
I think that's what takes us to the third one, which is suspending all elections under the 1999.
All preparations, all everything.
2023 presidential election.
Why should the election be suspended?
You know, like she said, everybody who is elected into any particular position is sworn in to uphold the 1999 Constitution. It's more like saying you're under oath to uphold this Constitution.
This has nothing to do with the government officials.
I was
worried about their positions, about how this affects them, and all of that. This has nothing to do with this at all.
So you're trying to say that why this process is going on, the decommissioning process is going on, and we don't have any election, because when we have that election, any new election now in 2023, we'll be using the 1999 Constitution. So any election we're having should be with the new Constitution. So why the process is going on? Those that are in power still remain in power. Okay. On to the next election. So the next, because the Constitution comes to life with the elections.
Elections.
Okay.
All right. Let's go to the next.
Which is to begin a time bound.
Yes.
All right. No. At working, you have to work with NINAS first. We have to also talk about that.
The next one was that the government should actually invite NINAS, and then that they will now set the proper transitioning process for this to be done. And like we said earlier, it has to be. We are not fighting the government.
Of course.
NINAS is not fighting the government, and so that we actually want to go through a proper transitioning so that this will be done in such a way that it's democratic and there's no form of chaos or something. That's why we have that third point there. Then the fourth one now.
The time bound. The time bound comes in two stages. Now we know that we as ethnic nationalities have to go to for a referendum. This referendum which will lead to an establishment of federating terms. And in this federating terms, we would come up with our own regional constitution, and thereby after that we will have a central constitution, which is supposed to be, because now we know that everyone was part of it, every ethnic nationality was part of this process. So we know that this constitution that was made by us.
So it's very important. The time bound is very important.
And then you know that the constitution is now proper. Everything.
So it's really important that we have the time bound so that we don't end up making this go forever. So the government needs to know that this, from this time to this time is when this is going to be happening. And then while if this is going to last, for instance, for a period of 1 year, we could say, okay, if it's a 1 year process, between this within this 1 year, first, the ethnic nationalities will have to go back for to have a referendum where they could now have their constitution, and then when they have their constitution at that level, now bring it up to the regional level and we have a regional constitution, and then and just like she said, at that point we can now say that this is a constitution from we the people.
Establishing the main definition of what a constitution is all
supposed to be.
Okay. So now that this has been proposed, and the Constitutional Force Majeure has been proposed to the government, and they were given a period of 90 days.
Yes, beginning from this 16th of December, and that expired on the 16th
the midnight of 16th.
So what was the government response to this?
Well, basically, we cannot formally say that the government had responded to this, although during that period there are certain moves saw the government make certain things, trying to. There was this conference, I think it was hosted by Channels TV, where we had El Rufai, and they tried to come up with creating of the
new states, more states.
That's not our problem right now.
But on all of this, there was no, the government did not formally say that this was a response to NINAS. NINAS did not come in. In fact, no, they didn't mention this at all. So it was just their way, trying to avoid these things and trying to put, we're now beginning community policing and all of that, trying to see if they can
find their way around
this. But then, we can't say that the government had responded to this. They haven't. So 90 days elapsed without the government responding to the Constitutional Force Majeure.
No official response.
No official response from the government.
Okay, now that the 90 days have elapsed, now it has expired, what is the call of action by NINAS?
Okay, the call of action by NINAS, just after the 90 days that expired on the 16th of March, the following day, the 17th, we had an international conference that was hosted, and we had thousands of persons from all around the world. Delegates all around the world. But we had Nigerians both within and abroad attending that conference. And the co-chairman of NINAS, Professor Akintoye, in his address actually said that we are going to be having another 30 days. Now 30-day period, and within that 30-day period, we are first going to go through consultations, where the aggrieved ethnic nationalities will go and consult with their political appointees or political leaders, and we'll have that consultation going through. Where we have to. Don't forget, like I said, we are not working against the government. We are actually still going through this process in the most civil way. So we are talking to them, talking to all our political leaders, consulting from them and knowing how to go about this in, like I said, the most civil way. And secondly, why this is going on too, we are going to also intensify enlightenment, especially among the youth. And NINAS, we are very particular about the young people, because we need them to be carried along in this. They are the future. Just like this project is the future Nigeria project, they are the future, and then so they have to be carried along. So NINAS is very particular about the young people getting to be enlightened about this, knowing what is happening in the country. And so that is also why we're having this project today. We are having to do this to enlighten the youth. So again, we are going to go on another break, and when we come back, we will still talk about this. This is so wonderful.
I was already captivated, and I was listening and getting. So we'll be right back after this break. Do not touch that dial.
NINAS, the Nigeria Indigenous Nationality Alliance for Self-Determination, is an alliance of ethnic nationalities from the Middle Belt, Southwest, and Lower Niger region. On the 16th of December 2020, NINAS declared a constitutional force majeure against the illegitimate 1999 constitution. NINAS demanded that the federal government acknowledge the constitutional grievances expressed by the ethnic nationalities, as well as begin the decommissioning of the 1999 constitution, and no further election should be conducted on the 1999 constitution until all grievances are resolved. To support NINAS and the Constitutional Force Majeure, sign the petition at www.ninasffn.org/register to end 1999 Constitution now. To speak with NINAS, call the number 0813-425-4584 or 070-5924-9885.
Welcome back to the show. So this is still the Future Nigeria project. Earlier before, we were discussing and we were having a fun time sharing and educating ourselves and the people more about what the Constitutional Force Majeure is. And we went further to also talk about the reasons why this constitutional force majeure was declared. And we also discussed the demands of NINAS. And then we went further to talk about the fact that the federal government has not responded to, the demands of the constitutional force majeure that was put forward. And then also, we also discussed more about the actions that NINAS is taking in regards to this, of which you mentioned that there is a 30-day plan.
Yeah, 30-day plan. We're having the consultation with our political leaders.
Okay.
And then we also have the intensifying enlightenment.
Okay, that's the sensitization of the people, which is what we are also doing at this moment.
Exactly.
Okay, so with all the knowledge you've gotten, with all you've come to know about the intention of NINAS and the reason for the constitutional force majeure, I want you to talk to youth briefly and inspire them and tell them why they should join you on this course.
Of course, we all know that our lives are in God's hands, but our futures are in our hands. Now we have to take it and make things happen. It is now. This is the time to stand up and make things happen. Join forces with NINAS for this work to take place.
Okay.
Yeah, we are not just going to sit back and let our democratic country run with the constitution that was made by the military government.
So we have to actually action in this.
Yeah. I'm going to be calling on the youth to begin to consciously get involved in the activities of the nation. Yeah, we should stop being reactive and be more proactive, because youths, Nigerian youths, sorry to say, have been more of, we are just being reactive. Things happen in the country.
So quasi about the situation.
The only thing we do, things just happen, we don't know how things are happening. We are not involved in things happening. The only thing we do is to sit back and complain, go on social media, oh, this is happening, this Buhari is doing this, the House of Assembly are doing this, these people are doing that, this is doing, but we are not involved in this. We are not involved in the process. So even if it happens that there's a war tomorrow, we will just sit back and hear, oh, there's war.
And why getting involved? Get involved rightly.
Yes.
We have to know that, not violently, but rightly. Get involved rightly. Do the right thing.
Should try as much as possible to get informed.
Get informed.
Consciously want to know what's happening in the country. What's happening in this constitution. What is in this constitution? I bet you the average Nigerian youth doesn't even know. One of the reasons, any material that has a constitution.
One of the reasons this is happening, you hear people say things like, "Hey, if it's politics, that one I don't deal with politics. I don't do politics." We want, if you want the best for the country, we as the young people, even the old people, get involved in political matters, get involved in economical issues, get involved in the social issues, in try
don't just
to know.
Stick to entertainment. Because we do more of entertainment, we just
because the country
TV,
will not sit back.
Get involved overall.
The country won't sit back and automatically declare youths, you're to rule this time. So we have to stand up.
So how you can be a part of this? You can be a part of this by going to the website. Visit www.freedomfromnigeria.com, and also we have a petition that we're signing online in regards to the constitutional force majeure. So you can also join us to sign the petition by visiting www.ninasffn.org/register now, and you will see the details on the screen. Also, the phone numbers to call in case you have more inquiries about what we are doing. And I will also we also indulge you to be part of this, because we have in what we call the NINAS CFM Advocacy team. You can be a part of this. You can share information. You can educate people. You can be part of this sensitization, and also
follow this program.
And follow this program. Yes.
We are going to be having subsequent edition.
Yeah.
And please follow us on YouTube, on Facebook, every of our social media handles. Please try as much as possible to follow us.
So this is the Future Nigeria project, and there is no better time to be part of what is going on to make a difference than now. And signing up, I am Faith Igwe. Thank you so much for being with us.
Firestone Coffee, it's been a great time. We're looking forward to having all of us get involved more in these things.
Victor, still humbled to be with you today. Thank you.
Goodness, Maria. Thank you for staying tuned.